Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Young here, and today I'm back in another Fortnite video. And in today's video, I'm going to give you guys some really good tips and tricks on how to outplay other players in Fortnite. And this is just one of the things that I've noticed when playing Fortnite for the past few days. And recently, for you guys who don't already know, I switched to PC and controller. So this one thing in particular I'm going to be talking about in this video highly applies to what I'm doing and pretty much any sort of gunfight in Fortnite. And I'm going to explain exactly what I mean by that in the video. And before we get into the video, I have a V-Buck giveaway. If you guys want a chance to win some free V-Bucks, all you need to do is to drop a like on this video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on my notifications, and as well leave a comment down below of your Xbox gamer tag, your PSN gamer tag, or Epic account. And as well, make sure you guys have me added and supported as a creator. All you need to do this is go over to the item shop, hit X, go to support a creator, and then type in my code, and my code is Young Humor. And once you type that in, all you have to do is accept it, and you will have me added and supported as a creator. So make sure you guys do that. It really does help me out. And alright guys, let's go right to the video. Alright, so for the gameplay I have for the background is a 24 kill game I had in duo squads, and I think this was the first 20 bomb that I had on PC, and I could be wrong. I know I had two. I think this one was the first one that I had, or I could be wrong. It could have been the other one that I'm gonna post. It was my first one, but either way, this was one of my first 20 bombs that I had on PC, and it was a pretty good win here in duo squads. And as far as playing on console versus playing on PC, when it comes to the players that I'm running against, if you guys want to know, and to be honest with you guys, a lot of the players that I'm running into still aren't that good of players. For honestly, when I run on PC, I'm not going to lie, I'm running into a ton of pencil warriors. And for those of you guys who don't know what I mean by that, a pencil warrior is basically a name for a player who just sits in a box. And it's like it's pretty much just like a scrim player, but they're playing it in pubs. It's super annoying to go against. And they call it a pencil because you sit in a box and then you got the floor and then you have the cone, so it's kind of shaped like a pencil. And it's just those kind of players are the most annoying people to play against. And trust me, I've ran into so many of them playing on PC servers. It's basically the kind of players that I'm running on console, and then the occasional player who's trying really hard, and then I finally get a shot or two on them and they just sit in a box, so turbo build, and they just sit there and don't challenge for like 2 or 3 minutes. Super annoying to deal with. Those kind of players are the worst players to fight, just because there isn't too many counters with it, and it's super annoying. And I wish there was a little bit more counters when it comes to fighting people in 1v1s, because they just sit in there for so long and it's just really hard to deal with. I don't really know exactly what kind of counters to do against it, but that's what I want to talk about in this video. I'm going to give you guys a really good tip when it comes to fighting players who do that kind of stuff, or just fighting other players in general, because a lot of players in this game, and like I said, going from PC, a lot of players I feel like are hiding in more boxes, whether that be in kind of an in-game, or maybe I just get 1 or 2 shots on them and then they immediately box in and they don't challenge for anything. They just camp in the box and don't go for any challenges, and the only shots they're going to take is if you jump down and then try to go for a wall replace. It's really just not the best type of players to fight, but I'm going to give you guys some tips on some really good ways to play those type of players. So when it comes to fighting those type of players, a lot of the times, I'm just going to play it and I'm going to assume that they're going to be playing like that. So going into the gunfight, I'm already going to assume that if I take a few shots at them, if I make them low, they're just going to camp in a box and then not move. So I want to play really aggressive and play really fast on those types of players. And so the best way to play it, and the best way that I do, is, so I'm in a gunfight, I'm building up, and a lot of times the players aren't going to be doing this until you maybe get 1 or 2 shots on them, and then that's usually when they start to box up and play a lot slower in the gunfight, which is really annoying. So say you get into a gunfight or into a little bit of a build fight, they start building up, you start building up, and the way that I play these fights, so I build up, I look for shots, maybe get a few tags on one player, get a few tags on another player, and if I get a few tags and I know they're going to be on somewhat low of an HP, and it doesn't even have to be that low, maybe like 120 or less, or if I have a really good challenge, the way I'm going to play it is really aggressive. Some people might call it W keying, or just spraying really hard. But so what I'm going to do is, if someone that I know is going to box up, I get 1 tag on them, and as soon as I get the tag, I'm going to pull up my P90, pull up my SMG, and I'm going to spray their wall really hard and try to get inside of their box. And a lot of players, when they try to go for this kind of move, they're worried about getting trapped. And trust me, if you make the other player low and you're already inside of their box, the last thing you should be worried about is getting trapped, because that's something they can do. But if you're going in there like right away, a lot of times they're not even going to be ready for it, and you're going to be getting so many tags, and even if they try to go for the trap, you're already going to have the knock or already have the kill by the time they go for it. So playing really, really aggressive and going up against their walls is going to be a huge key to killing those types of players and just being able to kill them before they can actually do that. Because you don't want to get in a situation where you make a guy weak and you're fighting a team of 3, and so you make one of them weak, and then you jump down to try to go for a few more shots, and they're just sitting in the box turbo building doing absolutely nothing, and the only times they challenge is like 30 seconds afterwards, where they go for some cheek pump shot for an edit play. Or whatever they try to do, they just try to play really, really slow. And so you don't want to waste too much time in gunfights, especially for me that I like to go for high kill games. I don't want to spend a ton of time just sitting in gunfights, just dragging out for a really, really long time. So the best way to do it, like I said, is just you want to play really, really aggressive on those players. And as soon as you get a tag on them, that's when you want to make your play, and you want to be able to try to go through their box and get inside of it. So when you go for this type of play, there's two really main things that you have to keep in mind when you're doing this. So say you do manage to actually get inside of their 1x1, which is going to be the key. You're going to have the best chance of killing them from that position. So say you're actually able to get inside of their box. So honestly, there's two main things that you have to keep in mind. The first being that once you get inside, you have to be aware if they're using brick, if they're using metal, or if they're using steel. Because if they're using either brick or steel, it's going to be a lot tougher to get out of that box than if they're using wood. Because if they're using wood, you're pretty much just good to go. It's super easy to deal with. You can break through it pretty fast with almost every single gun in this game. But if they happen to be building out of brick or steel, you have to be very careful and very quick about it, because if the walls are already fully built, it's going to be almost nearly impossible to destroy if they spam traps everywhere. But if they're using wood, like I said, you're able to get out of it really quickly, and it doesn't really matter too much if they put traps, so you can break it easily or just go to the other side. But if they're using brick or steel, it's going to have a lot tougher time, because it has the most amount of starting HP. So metal and brick are also going to have the most starting HP and as well the most finishing HP. So they're just a lot harder to deal with and really annoying. So that's just one thing to keep in mind when you're going for this type of play. And you always want to keep in mind how good of a player you're going against, because if you're going against kind of a newer player or kind of a beginner player, it's not going to be too hard to deal with and you really don't have to worry about too much. But if you're going against a really, really sweaty player, then you have to, of course, be a little bit more careful and expect them to try to go for some trap play, or just try to go for a pump headshot. But either way, you want to play it exactly the same, whether if you're playing a beginner player or kind of a better player to a really, really sweaty player. You want to play it exactly the same. You just have to be a little bit more cautious when you're going against the better players, because they're going to be trying to expect something like this and then trying to counter it. But when you're going against those newer players, it's going to be a lot easier because they're going to be a lot slower, and you're most of the time going to be able to do exactly what you want without them trapping you or getting any sort of damage on you whatsoever. So the second thing that I wanted to talk about when it comes to going inside the box, the second tip that I have for you guys is a lot of people don't actually do this. So say if they get into a box, they get stuck and you're trying to get out, you're trying to break out one of the side walls, and the player inside of the box is constantly holding turbo build, and you know sooner or later they're going to go for an edit play, go for the trap kill on you, and you just know it's going to happen. A lot of players, what they don't do, it honestly works a lot better than trying to mine out the side of the walls, is if you're in a build fight and you're building up, the best thing that you can do honestly is just mine through the bottom floor. And a lot of times if you're in those kind of fights, a lot of times you might even have the bottom floor as a control, because if you're building up and the other players are putting walls around you, most of the time it's going to be your floor and you're going to have a lot more control over that, so you can go for an edit down to get out of that box. And as well, if you get into a situation where they do end up placing the traps, going to the bottom is also just a really, really good way to get out of it. And you have to be careful that you drop down enough if there's a ramp under you. If not, then the trap is going to for sure hit you. So you just have to keep that in mind when you're dropping down. But just dropping down to the bottom of the floor is going to be a super effective way to get out of that box. And just a very helpful, good strategy that I think you guys should be using in your gameplay. If you feel like you ever get into a box and you feel like you get stuck and can't get out, I would definitely recommend trying that. It's worked really good for me in games. And just one last thing that I would like to mention when it comes to using this strategy is honestly SMGs are going to be your best friend when it comes to doing this, just because I feel like, or I'm pretty sure that the SMGs do the most amount of damage to walls the quickest, besides like RPGs and snipers and stuff like that. But as far as weapon goes, I feel like SMGs do way more damage to structures. Just because of their fast fire rate, I feel like I just melt through walls left and right as opposed to an AR, and especially a shotgun. Shotgun does absolutely no damage to any sort of structures. So the SMG spam in someone's box is honestly, in my opinion, pretty OP, and I've gotten gotten a lot of really good kills with it. It's definitely something I have to do a lot more now playing on PC, and then you run into the occasional sweaty players who are just sitting in boxes, and it's very difficult to go for kills on them. So being good with getting inside someone's 1x1 and then just going for an SMG spam has been really useful, and I've gotten a lot of kills doing so. And with that being said, that's what for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys liked it, and if you could, drop a like on this video. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on my notifications so you're notified for every single new video. And alright guys, I'll see you next video.